Okay, Algebra 2, let's talk about absolute value graph transformations. We've done quadratics. We mentioned linear graph transformations, which we will do more of in class. Here are the salient points for the linear transformations, and there is a general form equation just like the one for the parabolas that we'll introduce in class 2. A lot less complicated, but this is for the parent function y equals f of x, all of this mess down here. Y equals f of x, y equals x, right? Which we recognize as a linear function. Oh, I keep forgetting I'm supposed to be printing for you guys. All right, very similar to the parabolas, but not quite as much fun. We have the absolute value graphs. And I've graphed the parent function in black on this little thingy. Let me change back to black here. So we got this guy over here, right? We have in the black line y equals absolute value of x. And then the reflection is y equals negative, right? Negative absolute value of x, which we would expect. That's just like with the parabolas, right? So this is y equals negative absolute value of x. Well, what about this guy over here? Y equals absolute value of x plus 2. I made a little table, as I did with the other two, and we see, as we would expect from our work with parabolas, that it's the same graph. It's just shifted vertically in the positive y direction 2 spaces, right? So we would graph that puppy by counting up 1, 2 spaces, and then drawing, all right, you know what, I'm going to do it with the little thingy. And let's get rid of this guy. Oops. Pretend that's the same exact length as the other one. So this becomes y equals absolute value x plus 2, right? And again, we expect that based on what we have seen with parabolas. We know that this is just a vertical shift or a vertical translation. So there's our general form equation for absolute value. It should look very familiar with one slight difference, right? Let's just go through them. Here we have, that's going to tell us reflection over the x-axis. This guy right here is going to tell us whether or not there's a reflection over, the y-axis. Yuck. Yeah, good times. And this guy, as with a parabola, gives us a horizontal translation. And it's counterintuitive, just like it is with the parabolas. And finally, this guy tells us if there's a vertical translation. And again, your book has this lovely little table, which basically just reiterates the information in this general form equation that we have up here. This mess, this whole mess, is the general form all right. And that's really it. So the graph transformations for absolute value, the rules for graphing transformations of absolute value functions are very similar to the rules for graphing transformations of parabolic functions. So there's nothing really new here. except possibly the reflection over the y-axis, which we will talk about in class.